What's up, guys? This is Giovanni, and I'm filling in for KJ tonight on Poppin' Politics, but it's still going to be a great show. But we have one question for you tonight. Are Nick Cannon and Andrew Tate good role models for men? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Again, this is Giovanni, and I'm filling in for KJ. She's a little bit under the weather tonight, but our prayers, thoughts with her. She'll be back next week, but I'm pretty sure she's watching. But make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe. Also, go to our new channel representing Poppin' Politics at Poppin' Politics on Facebook and on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe, like, and share it there. But what's up, ladies? How you guys doing tonight?
Hey. Welcome to Poppin' Politics.
Wow.
I know. It's crazy to have a man on here. It's so exciting.
Yeah, I know it was a pleasant surprise that I hopped on. But Happy New Year. So real quick, just random. Shelly, what is your New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution. One of them is to train. Train.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You sound boring, but Colleen,
whatever. You asked me. Whatever.
What's your New Year's resolution?
I hope to share it soon. It's actually some exciting news, but I have some new stuff that I'm going to be starting this year, and hopefully it'll come later.
Are you getting married?
No. Hint.
T, what's your New Year's resolution? What you got?
I can't say that I have a resolution, but it's some things that I've been working on that I really need to go ahead and a business in the pipeline that I really have been working on. I just need to get it out and do it. That's really, everyone's just, no, because hopefully I'll have some super.
I mean, not like
not me, but hopefully I'll gain a ring to have.
Okay, I got you. And what about you, Yana?
Well, I am getting married this year.
Nice.
I'm excited, and also I'm working on being healthy and taking care of myself. I was just telling someone before the show that I've been ordering fresh farm produce, so unpasteurized milk, cheese, healthy meats. So I'm just trying to be, better take care of myself and my family.
Sounds like you're going back to the good old days.
Yes.
All right. So again, today we're going to be asking the question: are Andrew Tate or men like Andrew Tate and Nick Cannon, are they good for masculinity, for manhood, for fathers and stuff like that? But first, we got a few headlines that we want to go through. First, last year, I think, at the end of last year, on December 30th, we did lose an icon in media, Barbara Walters. Shelly, what did you have, to say about that? How did she impact you, rather?
I'll say this. She was a trailblazer in her field. One of the first, if not the first woman to do the interviews in the style that she did, with the focus and the seriousness that she gave to her interviews and her interviewees. One of the things I was thinking about when she passed is that we, even in this media today on our show, Poppin' Politics, we in some ways are coming in her footsteps. Maybe we are long off, but again, because of the path that she sort of opened up, we are able to do that. Women like us and other women in media and those formats. So in that sense, I think I would give her some honor in that way.
All right, right on. Appreciate that. So again, from Metro Conservative Media, Pop Politics, or Thoughts and Prayers, or with her family or loved ones, and everything like that. So, and other news, that's another tragedy that had been happening this week is Damar Hamlin, 24-year-old safety for the Buffalo Bills. He collapsed on the field after making a tackle of T. Higgins. And there's been a lot of controversy, surrounding that regarding the health of players and whether we can question what really happened. T, what do you, I know you saw this, you saw the hit. Like, what are some of the things that I guess come to mind, immediately after seeing it? T, you're muted.
Sorry. Immediately after seeing it, I for the fact that they were giving him CPR for 8-9 minutes, I thought that was quite serious, and I was glad that they did stop the game, because that would have been quite insensitive, and I don't know if I would have supported NFL after that point if they didn't. But I'm glad they did. But I've been. Is that all I'm supposed to say right now?
Well, yeah. Let me get Colleen in here real quick.
Okay.
One thing that has been going on is question about whether it's vaccine related. Are we allowed to question whether it's something related to the vaccine or just a freak accident?
Well, we can't really question that, of course, but it is pretty sketchy being 24 years old and going into cardiac arrest. I've heard other, diagnoses being thrown out there that are very possible. I'm not a doctor, but this has been happening very, very it's more common since the COVID vaccine has been rolled out. So I'm not saying that's a reason. I'm just saying that it just happens to be a correlation that maybe someone should look into, but that's all I'm going to say on that.
So, so I played football like most of my life, and my most recent time playing like collision contact football was in 2015 in Israel. So like all my life, I had been playing football, and an injury like this has never come up. And I've played with people that had like heart murmurs or heart palpitations, those type of things, and never in my career. So this is, one of a kind injury for the NFL, for the football world in general. And we've seen some pretty crazy things in the world of sports. But I do want to get, I guess, one more thought on that. Yana, what would you have to add? Like you saw what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and the player collapsed on the field. Are we allowed to talk about it, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the issue I have is with the reaction of the media immediately after it happened. It looks like, he was just taken to the hospital, and right away they were telling people what was his diagnosis, even though that didn't come from the doctors. So right away there were these experts. I don't know where these people are coming from, these medical experts, saying that he had this what do you call it, commodio cordis, that that his heart was hit at a certain point, and because of that he suffered cardiac arrest. But that didn't come from his doctor. So that's my problem is with the media, is that we're not supposed to question it. We just have to accept the immediate I guess diagnosis that comes from the media.
Public
Yeah,
opinion, really.
that is a great point. But Shelly, are we seeing a media driven narrative of the diagnosis? Is that what's happening?
I think so. We're seeing a media-driven narrative of not saying that saying that you cannot question or ask questions if it's COVID related. But I also want to give the balance to that. That doesn't mean that it is COVID related either. I have heard nothing, not his family, not doctors, anyone say that he has or has not recently been vaccinated or however long ago. I'm not saying that he has or has not. I haven't heard it one way or the other. So I'm not saying it is or it is not related. What I am saying is that, yes, we can certainly ask questions. I don't give a damn what the media says. We can certainly ask questions, but it's not one way or the other, because in the absence of any information, it would be foolish for any side to make a straight conclusion.
Right. Can I also say something real quick? Because I did go to college where I went to Frostburg State, and one of our football players passed away from I think it was a concussion related injury during one of his practices. And it was obviously such a horrific accident. And like you've said, Giovanni, like these things do happen in football. Like I'm not
a concussion is a different thing.
Listen, but these cases, they were the ones being hit. When I'm an athlete as well. I was never a football player, but I played lacrosse. Like I did taekwondo when I was younger. I'm used to impact sports in a sense where you literally brace your body for the impact. So when you're the one doing the hitting, and then the doctors and all this media diagnoses is saying that, oh, well, it's this comiocortis or whatever this is that this diagnosis is. It's like, but he wasn't the one that got hit. Right. He was putting the impact on, you're bracing your body for impact. That's why it's so sketchy to me, because he wasn't the one taking the impact. He brought the force, stood up, and then he collapsed.
So, I do want to respond to a comment. There was a comment.
No, we're going to go ahead and keep moving on. But I would like to say really quick that, again, no one wishes that, harm or hurt on anybody. And our thoughts and prayers are with, Damar Hamlin and his family. But I want to keep going. But Yana, I'll come to you first with the next one.
I want to respond to a comment that was just there about baseball. So these kind of injuries do happen in baseball, but not in in football.
Oh yeah, but we're going to keep moving on. All right. So far as so Trump recently came out is blaming pro-lifers. Blaming pro-lifers for Republicans losing. So Jan, I do want to go back to you first. Like, does he have a fair point, or is he alienated his base, or what's going on with Trump?
I think that sounds like betrayal of his base to me, and he has been disappointing. He has, beginning with the January 6th situation, where he hasn't expressed support for people who are being held in jail for supporting him, for risking their lives and safety for him. And now he's alienated. Oh gosh, I can't pronounce today. He is ignoring his base, that people who really supported him, and so it's really disappointing.
So Shelley, I know you had an interesting response to that. I think you supported maybe some of the stuff that former President Trump was saying. Tell us a little bit more.
I supported what he said in that. I said what he said was true in regards to the election, and that Republicans really did not provide a response, an adequate response, or an adequate platform for the midterms in regards to dealing with abortion, the Supreme Court decision. That's what I said. He made sense with that. He did not. I mean, he did tell the truth with that. We did not do that. And what he was saying, or at least part of what he said, was that the Republicans, the extreme side, I'm not sure what word he used, they would not budge, or they were not ready to at least acknowledge that most of Americans, polls consistently show that most Americans are in agreement with placing limits on abortion after a certain point. Basically, we could use that as a starting point instead of taking the extremes on both sides. So I supported him in his, in what he was maybe attempting to say. I don't care who he thinks he's alienating or who feels alienated. Maybe they do. I don't care. What I am tired of is Republicans making Trump the issue. Yes, he will insert himself. He has every right to speak out as an American. But I'm tired of Republicans. I'm tired of us making him the issue and then blaming him for our failures or lack of.
So Colleen, is extremism, particularly within the Republican Party, the death of the Republican Party?
I mean, in terms, well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of hard to say. I mean, like in terms of abortion, I don't think it's that. I mean, because Donald Trump got these justices in their seats that overturned Roe v. Wade. So I don't really know where that statement came from that he's making, that he's saying this, you know what I mean? But also I want to say, like, I rock a MAGA hat just because I like the way it looks at this point. I love Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong. But if DeSantis runs in 2024, I am absolutely voting for DeSantis at this point. So when Trump says stuff, I'm just like, dude, I don't even care. Like, I don't even care anymore. Like, I love the man. Like, I really hope that he can get it together and maybe he can make another comeback. But let's be real. They would never let him win. They didn't let him win in 2020. So I whenever there's a tweet or something like that, and I just wish he would just get on Twitter. But the problem is he would kill Truth Social. What a predicament. I like at this point, if DeSantis makes a better hat, I will rock that ASAP.
All right, we'll have to ask you later on what the hat needs to say. But T,
Florida free.
but T, real quick, after these comments by Trump, are you still rocking with him?
Trump has always been making comments, so this is nothing new. I rock with whoever I want to rock with at the time, and Trump he's always been doing too much for me. Sometimes I rock with him, sometimes I don't. It depends on the day. It depends on what he says. After these comments, like Colleen said, he's almost irrelevant at this point. So we've kind of moved on. Most of us have moved on anyway.
Gotcha. So last thing, far as the national news, what's going on with Kevin McCarthy? I think they're trying to elect him to be, or I guess screwing up the elections, but for being Speaker of the House. What is this saying about Republicans? Yana, what are your thoughts there on Kevin McCarthy?
I mean, I don't have too much to say, only that Republicans have not been able to agree on a lot of things in the last couple of years. So it's disappointing again.
Okay. Shelley, what's going on with Speaker of the House?
Nothing. I think it's been 6 or 7 votes already, and we still don't have a Speaker of the House. I think this is emblematic of the Republican Party of late, and not even just since Trump has been elected, even before, or at least since Trump has been elected. Let me say it that way. But again, this is another sign that our party is in disarray, regardless of what Trump says or doesn't say. We still cannot take and use the win that we have earned, we've been given, and do good with it. We can't even put a speaker in, and we're in control of the House by numbers. It's just a matter of chaos right now, or confusion at the very least.
So, Colleen, what is the perception of the Republican Party now with this Speaker of the House situation?
Oh my gosh. I heard somebody explain this earlier. I can't remember who, but basically trying to say that this was an embarrassment to Republicans. We embarrass ourselves all the time. Who cares? I don't give a crap if they think this looks bad. So, and this is based on a serious principle, because, a part of me wants to be like, let's play nice. We don't want the Democrats to take this one, but it's like, at the same time, man, McCarthy wants to make Ukraine great again. Okay. He doesn't want to make America great again. So I'm tired of him. Anybody who wore Ukrainian flags or Ukrainian colors. I love Ukraine. My sister's from Ukraine. Like I of course I care about the country's well-being, and I hope it doesn't just implode under Putin. But like, that's not my country. And that's not where my tax dollars go. So when I see a politician dressed up in Ukrainian garb, I'm just like, I don't want you Speaker of the House. I'm sorry. Your priorities are elsewhere. So they threw Byron Donalds as a nomination today. And I'm liking the way that looks. Okay. I'm liking that. So if that's going to really keep shaking things up, I'm with it, because we
Is that
need to
because he's a
stand.
Florida guy?
Yeah. But well, also because Byron Donalds, I mean, I know all of us have definitely heard of Byron Donalds and have heard him make a name for himself in politics. I mean, he's a true conservative. So, and I think that, I haven't heard him turn it down. So, I mean, Jim Jordan turned it down. So that's where we're at right now. And I think, and apparently, and I wasn't into politics before the first go around when McCarthy apparently was up for this same scenario, in 2015, 2016 or something like that. Like I was a Democrat and very asleep back then. So like if this is twice now that this guy, what is that telling you? That some of that people that we perceive to be swamp are like, no, definitely not this guy. You know what I mean?
I know.
So
I
don't know.
So T, KJ has this I guess this point that she usually makes, that it's better to win than to stand on your principles. Is that what the Republicans are doing now in the House? Are they standing on their principles, to Colleen's point, or should we just kind of give way to a win here?
Yeah, I don't think we should give way to a win, because a win isn't really a win. if we dig a little deeper, it's quite embarrassing at this point what's going on. But I think that if we, like Colleen said, Congressman Donalds, he looks like he might be, not because he's cool, but he looks like he might be a good
he's cool.
Good candidate. What?
I say he's cool.
Yeah, he's cool, and
okay.
He's a Floridian, and we went to the same college, and I know him. But your question was, oh yeah, a win isn't really a win, especially if it's this way. I mean, it's been 100 years since till this year, actually, 1923, when we've had the 113 votes. I hope we don't do that. I hope we don't get to that point. That's too much, and we're wasting tax money, and we're wasting time.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into some local news. But again, we do have the Andrew Tate and Nick Cannon coming up. It's going to be some spirited discussions there, especially with me on the line. But real quick, we do have a couple of local topics to get through here. Ivan Bates was recently just sworn in as our new state's attorney here in Baltimore City, replacing the two-term state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby. Is this a new day for Baltimore? Are we going to see some changes? How do you feel about Ivan Bates so far, Shelley?
I feel optimistic, hopeful. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, God, what else do we have to lose except more dead people? I didn't vote for Ivan Bates. Again, I said I'm a registered Republican, so I did not vote for him, but I'm certainly going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think, we can only, at least I hope we can only get better. God knows, I hope we don't get worse. And you mentioned, again, the local news. We've had several since December 31st, 2022, only about 4 or 5 days ago. We've had several shootings and murders, particularly of young people. Ivan Bates, his speech yesterday, his inauguration speech, was breathtaking. It was refreshing. It was fierce. It was masculine. It was powerful. It was encouraging. So again, young people are dying literally every day on our streets, while our mayor is on the news cursing. I know people made a big deal of his cursing, whatever, but that's what he's doing. And people are still dying. We had 5 young people were shot today. One of them was murdered in Edmondson Village, or near the Edmondson High School. And so this is what we have to deal with, Baltimoreans. Then there was some at the press conference, there were some citizens, Baltimoreans, who I guess I would say confronted the congressman there in that area, the city councilman. Great. I hope that is a sign that Baltimoreans are sick and tired of burying young people and innocent people. I hope that's a sign. They were in that councilman's face, and I hope they continue to do that. So I'm hopeful about Ivan Bates being in charge. I'm glad that the death destruction machine named Marilyn Mosby is gone. At least she's out of office. You know, I hope her and her family are living well or whatever they're doing. But I hope this is a new day, certainly a new start for Baltimore.
So Yana, what does it say about Baltimoreans and their reaction to progressive policies? I mean, we know Marilyn Mosby is probably one of the most famous rogue prosecutors funded by George Soros. What does that say when a major city like Baltimore, I guess just removes her?
Well, I do the same as Shelley said. I hope there is hope for Baltimore. And Andrew, I'm sorry, what? Ivan Bates. He seems to be. I mean, from what I saw, he's a family man. He's a military guy. I mean, I'm hopeful that he'll be better than Marilyn Mosby, and that people in Baltimore hopefully understand the value of someone who doesn't play in politics, who actually wants change and who is devoted to his city, to his people that live there. And that's, I mean, I can just be hopeful.
Right on, right on. So Colleen, one of the first things that Ivan Bates did, after being sworn in, was saying he's overturning the policy that he's no longer that Marilyn Mosby implemented of no longer prosecuting low-level crimes. Do you think that'll have any impact?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also shocked that Marilyn Mosby was overturned, like actually was elected out. I mean, I'm very shocked. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there is hope for Baltimore, but who funded Ivan Bates is the question. Has he mentioned what has he said against Marilyn Mosby? These are my questions. I have not been as read up on Ivan Bates as I would like to have been, but I'm very happy that Marilyn Mosby is gone because she has been a cancer on Baltimore.
Well, Ivan Bates has come out and said that we're going to enforce the law. We're going to prosecute crime. But one question, I'm going to pose this to you, T, is that is the mayor and Ivan Bates really, are they really on the same page? Because the mayor does have say over the police commissioner of who the police are arresting and locking up. Do you think that there will actually be in sync moving forward, or will we, see some type of disconnect between the mayor's office and the state's attorney's office?
As I think Shelley mentioned earlier, Ivan Bates seems a bit more masculine than Mayor Scott. So I think that with that persuasion, he might have some more of an influence to work with the mayor's office. At least I hope. I hope he makes good on his promises, and because they're good promises, so I hope he makes good on them. So I hope with that strength and power that he has in that position, that he can work well with the mayor's office.
Right on. So as Shelley alluded to, earlier, on December 31st, there was a 7-year-old that was shot in the head and killed. And then since the New Year's, there has been 3 homicides, including one today. And all 3 deaths this year have come from youth, and every victim has been under 18. So real quick, I would like to go around the horn, just real quick, everybody. What are your immediate, how do you feel about that coming into a new year? 3 deaths, 3 homicides, and the last 4 homicides all have been under 18. So Shelley, what's your immediate feelings and thoughts towards that?
Almost every day as a mother, as a family member of a murdered aunt, I'm almost in tears almost every day when I hear these young people, particularly young people, certainly just innocent people being slaughtered. I know we talk about the numbers a lot. I talk about them, but behind every one of those numbers is an actual human being, a life that has been snuffed out. And it's just out of order. And I know we use that phrase a lot, talking about a lot of things, but it really is out of order. I mean, children are not expected to go before their parents in the real order of things, I guess. So my initial reaction is every day almost I'm in tears. I'm in tears. I'm saying, prayers and thoughts for people I've never met and may never meet. But it just puts a palm or a bomb over the city. It's just a dark cloud, if you will, that hangs over our city, and our young people are bearing the brunt of it, while our administrators and elected officials are politicking and playing with people's lives. Ivan Bates, I was in a store when I was actually listening to his speech, and I said yes, and I think the people thought I was crazy. But when he said to the police, to Commissioner Harrison directly, he said, "You have the right to enforce the law." That's what he said. Wow. He said, "I'm here. I'm going to back you up if you're enforcing the law." So I don't necessarily think that he and Brandon Scott are on the same page. I think Brandon Scott is still on his agenda for this crime violence reduction plan that is not reducing a damn thing, but it is increasing the cost of lives going into body bags down at Shock Trauma and Johns Hopkins and in the funeral homes throughout the city.
Wow. So T, as a mom, three homicides of this year have all been under 18. And the last four homicides, that we know of have been under, 18. As a mom, parent, like what is your immediate thought about that?
My immediate thought is, where are the parents? How come we're not making parenthood or offering guidance and resources to parents for them to not be in these situations and create these young deaths? Because I blame the parents. And even if they don't have, the money, the funds, there's still a certain thing called raising your children and not just maintaining them. Because you can maintain a dog, but with raising your children, you can still raise children to be productive citizens or progressive or good children, even in those circumstances, hopefully. But that's my thought. Like, where are the resources to help these parents to not have to bury their children?
Right on. So Yana, you're just outside the city and you're looking at, look at the city, looking and seeing this happening. And coming from your background, like how does that make you feel coming from, a different country and you're right here in America? Like, how does that make you feel seeing this in one of America's, major cities?
Well, I guess when you put it that way, coming from another country, it's surprising. Definitely for me, it's no longer surprising because I've been here for so long. But when people come here from other countries, they don't understand why this is happening, why people get involved in crime and killing each other, why parents are not watching their kids, are not not bringing up their kids properly. When people are trying to get here and to create families and to raise their kids in a better place, as that's how people see it, but then they see someone who, generation after generation, and it's the same crisis over and over. So it's just surprising and it's perplexing.
Wow.
It's laziness. It's laziness because we do have situations where we can raise children even better, but it's just laziness because they don't want. You talk about the generations, they don't want to get out. They have these welfare programs that are keeping them where they are, and they're comfortable.
Absolutely. So Colleen, you just recently, got away from Maryland. I guess, to kind of get away from this and these type of stories, but they seem all too familiar. But what does how do you look at Baltimore and you say, hey, the first three murders of the year um, have been all under 18? Like, what does that make you feel or see as someone even just outside several states away looking at?
It's so troubling to hear that. I mean, I really have such hope for Baltimore. I really hope that it can get its act together because, um, I do love Maryland. I'll always have such a place for it in my heart. And honestly, if Dan Cox won, I probably would have stayed. But I mean, hard to say. A lot happened, but yeah. So it's really hard to hear it. It really is hard to hear it. So I really hope that Baltimore can get better. And I think that, I mean, I feel hopeful hearing Shelley talk about Ivan Bates in his speech, and I'm actually going to watch it after the show because now I want to hear what this is about. I really do want to hear what his plans are because then we can follow up and we can be sure to track it. So because I think that that's the only way we can really keep any relatively small city like Baltimore, accountable is I think that our podcast, I mean, we are a small voice, but they know who we are. So I think that if we keep track of Ivan Bates, that would do us some good. I think that would be beneficial. So I will definitely keep track of him.
Right on, right on. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the meat of our discussion tonight, and it was mentioned earlier by I think T and Shelley about where are the fathers, where are the parents. But we have one guy. He's fathering several children by different baby mamas. Nick Cannon has 12 kids by 6 baby mamas, and people are touting him as a great dad, an example of fatherhood. But is he, Shelley?
Is he a great dad? Is that what you're asking?
I mean, is he a great example of fatherhood?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, he's a great biological example in that he's impregnating women and having all these babies. So biologically, yeah, I guess he's in the prime of his shape to make babies. But to do the actual fathering, no, I don't think so.
Well, he says he's everywhere. So Colleen, like, is it possible to have this many kids and be there for every single one of them?
My thing is, like, why has he not coordinated relationships with all these women by now? Like, with all his money and all his resources, like, my priority would have been to make sure that all these baby mamas got along so that holidays wouldn't be so difficult. Because, I mean, he has the money to do it. He could just have nice events and they could all just bring the kids and everything like that. So when he's talking about, I have to be here and there and all that stuff, it's like, dude, but you have the money to coordinate nice little get-togethers where that all these women should get along. I mean, obviously Nick Cannon has been doing this for so long. We can all be adults at some point, I guess. It's like, I mean, as long as he's paying his fair share, I mean, I'm sure he is. I'm sure these women definitely have him paying his fair share. So I don't know. I just think it's kind of crazy that he's acting like he has to play Santa Claus on Christmas when in all reality, he has the money. He could just throw a Christmas party and they could all just be there and they could just see each other every time.
Well, he called himself Saint Nick, so yeah, he has that going for him. Now, if the roles were reversed, T, would this fly? Could a mom have multiple baby daddies and it be? I mean, would this fly if it was the reverse, or does it fly?
What exactly flying is? What do you mean flying?
Is this an example of being is Nick being a good example of a good dad versus
because he has 12 children by having different baby mamas? No, it wouldn't fly either way because they're not married and they're not all in one household. If it were 12 children in one household, then yeah, it would be perfectly fine. It would fly then. But no, on either side, it's not good. And I mean, it's even worse with women, but because we're the ones that have to receive and birth these children. But the fact that they're not married and they have different households, you can't be the best. You can't be the best parent or the best example of a mother or father.
So Yana, like, it is, you know,
What does that say? Cut
cut
Shelly's mic.
cut Shelly's mic. Is her mic off?
She's protesting.
I don't know what she's doing.
No, because I'm going to say something. I'm saying cut my mic because I'm.
All right, go ahead, say it. What you got to say?
Oh, because I said mothers it's worse for mothers because we have to actually birth the children.
Well, I wanted to I kind of respond to that, but I wanted to say to Giovanni's question, it wouldn't fly with a woman. With a woman, she would be called a whore, a slut, and whatever else if she had 12 children by what, 5 or 6 different men, even if she could afford them and she was taking care of them, having the money, which to your point, T, yeah, it would be worse in that sense. I'm not saying I agree that it should be, but yeah, it would be socially and culturally. But for Nick Cannon, if he had, T, I'm agreeing with you on this point. 12 children in and of themselves is not the problem. It's the fact that he is inseminating everybody all over the earth, and then he's being, applauded for it and glorified for it.
And everyone keeps saying, oh, because he can afford it. But money doesn't make you a good father. Just because you have money, it's because the quality time that you have with the children, that's what makes you a better father.
So Yana, real quick, I want you to jump in here. Like, as far as being an example for other young men, is Nick Cannon, 6 baby mamas, 12 kids, repopulating the earth, is that a good example for young men?
Well, I'm very confused really about what's going on with him. Like, is he polygamous or is he polyamorous?
He's neither. He's just having sex with these women to have babies.
But are they?
He says they all have good relationships. I don't know if that means between him and her, or with each other. I don't know what that means.
Honestly, so when I think about it, I think about like other cultures and where men, let's say, have several wives.
Keyword.
Right. So they'll have a few wives, and they take care of the wives. They take care of the children, and also the wives obviously are not sleeping with other men. So I'm not sure what's going on in his situation, because in this case, they might be sleeping with other men, then he's coming back to them and sleeping with them. Like it's a mess. And so, like, how are you gonna raise a child in that kind of environment? How is this child going to grow up, and what kind of morality and principles is this child going to have, that his mother, it doesn't really have a status of any kind, she's just a baby mama? Like, I mean, what is this, like a baby production factory? I mean, that's how they're treating the women. And yeah, he can afford it, but like T said, that's not the only thing that you need to do for your children.
Absolutely. So, Colleen, let's say Nick is in a polygamous relationship where he has multiple women or whatever, right? Is he able to raise healthy children in this environment?
I mean, if they were all living in the same house, I mean, I guess it's kind of doable. Like, I'm a Sister Wives fan, so I think it can be done. But but at the same time, once the kids all grew up, they split up. Actually, what really split them up was COVID. You guys should definitely look into it. But anyway, yeah, I think it can be done, honestly. I think that polygamy in some situations can be done if the father figure really is stable enough. But like, I don't condone that. Like, that's not the lifestyle I would prefer to live. But like, some women really do get down with polygamy. Like,
I mean, I was just saying, I don't think that's what he has. So that's a different situation. And in fact, in cultures where there is polygamy and, it's legal and it's part of the culture, let's say in Islam, like I looked into that, and there's actually a provision in Islam, that part in the Quran that says, yes, you can marry 1, 2, 3, or 4 women, but if you think that you cannot treat them all fairly or be just with them, then only marry 1. So a lot of people forget that in these cultures, there were other reasons why men married women more than one, because men were dying at a higher rate, and there were lots of widows, so they would take in other wives. And so, but at the same time, if you desire to take more than one woman, you have to be really careful how you're going to organize your household. And because even back then, people knew that there are going to be problems. So I predict a lot of problems in his life.
Now let me ask you this, and anybody can jump in on this one, and it's just a little curveball. But do you think Candace Owens is a hypocrite for supporting someone like Nick Cannon?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Go ahead, Ted.
she is, because if we're talking about better families and better households, then there's no way that she can agree with what he's doing, because this isn't creating a better lifestyle for children. So, I mean, she talks on one hand about marriage and families and this, but this isn't a family.
Go ahead, Shelley.
I won't call her a hypocrite. I'm careful to use that because I know that people can change their views or whatever. So I give them some leeway to do that. However, I was very surprised that she said that, because based on, again, what T said, and when she said that, he's a good father, things like that, and it is giving sort of two messages, at least to her brand. She's putting out two contradictory messages, and she's really not clear why she's so I guess supportive of this compared to all the other things that she supports about family. If she had made maybe a second statement to say, this is why I make an exception for this or something like that, I would give her a little bit more, okay, I could understand the clarity. But she didn't do that. Again, I'm not going to call her a hypocrite per se, but it is kind of sketchy to me when she came out supporting this behavior. And this is one other thing I just thought of. We talk about single families on here a lot, single moms. All of these moms, I think he was married to Mariah Carey when he had his first children. I'm not sure if he was married to any of the other women, but he's basically contributing to single motherhood on purpose. Yes, he can afford them financially, but as you talk about on the show with the guys, Giovanni, finances are not the only thing a father brings to rearing and raising children. So again, I'm sure the finances are there, but what are these children growing up? They're going to be a part of the single motherhood culture. They're going to be spending more time predominantly with their mothers, with the women. And what are we going to get out of these, not these children per se, but children like this that he's adding to?
Now, Colleen, I know you're an advocate Candace fan. And when she came out and said, I talked to Nick and I like Nick, he's a great dad. Did that go against her brand?
Not really, because Candace has her shock factor. So, I mean, she too will like people who are, going to go against the grain sometimes. And as do I. I mean, as we'll see in our next segment, So, yeah.
Shelley, you look like you had something to say.
No, I was just laughing at Colleen. No. But no, I don't have anything to say. I'm laughing at Colleen.
What about you, Yana? Is Candace Owens being disingenuous with support of Nick Cannon? To me, it seems like because she just knows him, he gets a pass. But
yeah, probably it's just because they have some sort of friendship. So yeah, it's disappointing, unfortunate. I'm just disappointed with the leaders.
Now that you say that, can I also just make a real quick point, Shelley? Dennis Prager had said something about like when all the controversy was going on with Kanye and he was making the anti-Semitic statements, and Dennis Prager had like a fireside chat, and he was like basically saying that you got to be careful befriending celebrities. And he's so right about that. And that's what Candace's weakness is she befriends celebrities thinking that because he's not aborting these babies, he's pro-life. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Kanye makes a controversial statement. He's one of us, It's like,
yep. Yeah. Colleen, you're right. I love Dennis Prager. I heard that too. Giovanni, can I follow up this part with this thing I want to say with Candace?
Go ahead.
I think ultimately, or at least part of it with Candace, is that she doesn't I don't think she cares for Black women. So if it's a black man doing whatever, she's going to support it. I think she does not care for black women. If this was a black woman, she would have reamed her.
Hot take.
Wait, so
hot take.
why?
That is a huge hot take.
Yeah, hold on, because why would you say that she doesn't? When what cases other than Kimberly Klacik has she said bad things about black women?
I'm not saying bad things, so to speak, like just like bad things. I think she does not care for black women. I think she's very hard on black women. And so I think she would have reamed a black woman if the roles were reversed and this was a black woman. I think she would have come down on her so hard and scathingly. She would have done that. And so that's the part I say. I'm not gonna say she's a hypocrite, but that's the part when I heard her saying it, I'm like, So yeah, I came to that conclusion. I said, I don't think she really cares for black women in particular.
Maybe she cares a lot, and that's why she would say those things that
Right,
black women should not do those kind of. They should not mother.
So then, if that's the case,
children by different men.
No, if that's following your logic, if that's the case, then maybe she really hates black men.
Well, maybe she thinks because he's a man, that's acceptable.
No, I'm
different because men and women are different.
Men and women are different. It could be that she's giving him a pass because he's a guy.
Or maybe she really hates him, so it's under the same veneer.
It's not the same because
no, T's right.
No, I'm following your logic.
The same.
No, but those are apples and oranges, men and women.
Right.
No, I'm following your logic.
It is apples and oranges.
I'm just playing the devil's advocate based on your logic. If I'm saying she would ream a black woman, and you saying maybe she really doesn't, maybe she really
not the same logic. It's apples and oranges, like you said.
So how would you explain it, T?
That's Shelly's. I didn't say that she. So if I could see what Shelly is saying, have an open mind, she's because she doesn't advocate for black women because she feels like she holds them at a higher standard of things that they can and cannot do. But that's the reason. Women, black women, white women, whoever, women aren't the same as men. So we not held at the same standard. Yes, it's double standards, but that's what it is. There's no logic. You can't follow the same logic on both sides.
Let me ask.
You're missing my point.
What would the standard be then? Hold on. Let me ask T. What would the standard be then for a black man? I mean, do you support Nick Cannon's, I guess, lifestyle?
No, I don't support either one of them. But I'm just saying.
So, what would the standard then be for a black man? Would it be to be in the home of your fathers, or would it be to say, hey, you can be out here doing whatever you want? It don't matter.
Mother's baby, father's maybe. So if, like Shelley said earlier, the mother will be a single mother. Nick Cannon, he drops his seed off and goes to the next person. A mother wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, we will be able to have more children, more baby mothers, baby fathers, but it's not like you dropping your seed or dropping your kids off everywhere. Women can't do that. We can't do the same things as men.
But if she's holding Nick,
that's what it is. That's the double standard, is that he needs to make them wives. Like if that's the kind of life that he wants to have.
That would clear the way if he were to, but it's too late now. He already has how many baby mamas?
I mean,
6.
I guess he can start a new faith or something.
He's starting a new tribe, new city.
He married Mariah, so that's all he gets.
He already got enough for a basketball team, so.
And he has to be completely equal in giving them the attention, the love, the money, whatever
support.
It is, total support equally between all of them.
So speaking of women getting attention, Andrew Tate.
No.
Andrew Tate, he's been in the media recently, and right now he's in some trouble in Romania. He's being held, but he's been an icon in the Manosphere, Manosphere world, whatever you want to call it. But is his brand of masculinity good for men? Is that another example of what men should be looking up to from your perspective? Colleen, I want you to hop in here first.
So I love Andrew Tate. He is so entertaining. But some of the stuff he says is so crazy. And the problem is a lot of guys will take it the wrong way. And it's like a lot of low value men that are taking his advice. And it's like he can act this way and he can, have multiple girlfriends and stuff because he's like a multimillionaire, almost billionaire or whatever he is. So like, if you're a woman and you're getting into a relationship with a man like that, you already know what you're getting. I mean, he doesn't hide it by any means that that's the kind of person he is. So like, I don't really feel bad for any women that are with him.
So let me ask you this though, like Andrew Tate's been very vocal about, women, relationships and all kinds of things. But what information should a quote unquote low value man be receiving from someone like Andrew Tate? Like, what are his points that, hey, that's a good point that you low value man should receive and take?
How to get more.
Work out. Don't fall into the matrix. Don't fall for all the stupid propaganda. Unplug for base. Like, I mean, he's very he really wakes up young men, and I really do feel like a lot of young men today are kind of like, just either not properly channeled or whatever. And I mean, so some young women are as well, of course, it goes both ways, but I'm just saying that it's a lot more detrimental to young men because they're the leaders of society. They build societies. So if our young men are, useless, how are we supposed to get better? So essentially he does have good messages. Like I do see why he is useful and I can see why he's a threat. And it's mainly because of the stuff that he is talked out against with COVID. People in his tax bracket normally don't have that narrative, are normally pro-vax, pro, branch COVIDian religion and everything. So if they're in that tax bracket and they're saying opposite, those are the people that like I listen to.
All right. So Yana, is his brand of masculinity, is it toxic?
Yes.
Explain.
It's unfortunate that young men have someone like that to look up to. I mean, yeah, there could be some things that he says that might be useful. I mean, everyone, I'm sure even the worst people on this planet have said had some good advice to give. Osama bin Laden, I'm sure, had lots of good advice. But that doesn't make the person a good person all around. So
where's your biggest critique of Andrew Tate?
Well, I think that he has mommy issues. I know something about him. I mean, I looked into his background that his mom took him away from his dad, moved him across the ocean, and I think that must have affected him. I think he hates women. I think he overall has a very negative view of women in general, and so he kind of channels that into strength, but he's mentally ill because if to get women into his compound and have them work as cam girls, that is degrading, not just to women and to those women, it's just degrading to society. So if this is a leader for young men, I'm sorry for those young men and I'm sorry for the society as a whole.
So Shelly, I know you have a little bit of a different take on here, but so what do you say about the women who like him?
The women who like him, again, as long as Andrew Tate is not, I know he's been accused or charged of human trafficking or whatever, however that's playing out. If they are entering into whatever relationship, financial, sexual, whatever, otherwise, without fraud, without force, without any illegalities, surrounding it, I'm all for it. They are grown women. Again, I always keep it in the adult to adult realm, without force, without kidnapping, all that stuff, no rape and things like that. So, but his brand of masculinity, I think there's two sides. I think there's two sides to every coin. there's a pro side in that this manosphere, or these masculine men, like the likes of rest in peace Kevin Samuels, Andrew Tate, and others, I think they do provide a lot of men with a sense of purpose, or at least an encouragement to find a purpose, confidence. They are not ashamed of masculinity. So in that sense, they are mentoring a lot of younger, or a lot of men. The con side is that, like anything, it can be taken to the extreme, and it can even border on, or even maybe cross the threshold of abuse, illegalities. He's being charged with human trafficking and other things. So there's a pro and con to almost to everything in life. Andrew Tate is the same thing. He's not exempt from that pro and con.
So T, I want you to jump in here, and you're a pro male gal. I forgot what you call it. Pro man.
I've been called male identified.
Yeah, male identified. Is this type of masculinity toxic? Is this a bad example for young men? What is your perspective from the male identified female side?
Well, anytime you are to teach a lesson, anytime that you have a message to give, you have to be radical or an extremist to get people's attention. So I get the fact that he has to say things or be extreme with his comments and his opinions and the things in his content that he puts out there, because it's to grab the attention of the men that before may not have, as Shelley said, had purpose, or felt like they had purpose or confidence in themselves or self-esteem or felt their worth. However, I think some of the guys that listen to him, or men that listen to him and follow him, they don't have the foundation that they need in order to be acting like they're these types of men, because I mean, they're broke. So most of them are dusties. Most of them don't have the resources to be acting like they got this much confidence. Yeah, have confidence, but you're talking about 50-50, you're talking about or whatever, the stuff that they say, and the fact that they want to get these certain types of women or say these things to certain types of women, but they don't have the resources that those types of women would want for them anyway. So it's more like,
would you date an Andrew Tate type?
I would date a Kanye West. I would date an Andrew Tate.
No, just Andrew Tate.
Oh,
Colleen, would you date
yes.
Andrew Tate?
If I didn't have a boyfriend, yes.
Okay.
Totally. I mean, like, as I'm young, I wouldn't expect anything more than what he's providing. Like, I mean, he's like going on yachts and stuff. Why not?
All right. So Yana, would you date Andrew Tate?
I mean, first of all, he's ugly. So no, I mean, and he is disgusting, and he must have an STD of some sort. So yeah, why?
Where did you get that from?
I mean, he's got all these women like all over the world. Like, what am I missing?
Doesn't he also have the best doctors?
Okay.
I say this, but I'm like, honestly, he seems like he'd be like really mean. Like, I could not.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
and he's like he's a sociopath.
He
Like,
me cry.
I've had some of the toughest men, and they're like putty in my hand. So I'm not afraid of those types of men.
So Shelley E, would you date Andrew Tate?
Yeah, for the right price.
Which would be?
For the right price.
Which would be?
That would be a business, confidential, a contractual relationship. I mean, I would for the right price. And then guess what? And like T said, it does not have to all come with this abuse or whatever the misogyny is. It doesn't have to have that. It doesn't have to be that way.
Like, I truly believe that he.
A lot of this is because of social media. So the sensationalism or whatever,
exactly.
it doesn't have to be there.
Well, I will say media personalities are a lot different in person. And while you may be doing things, you might say things on a platform to build a brand or.
That's what I said.
That's called people.
To get the attention.
That's called people.
Yeah, you could really be different. But there are principles and stuff that apply, right? Like when you're concise and clear and to the point on certain things, it's going to come across as rude, mean, but ultimately direct. right? But
And I
I
appreciate
don't
that.
know. I don't know what he's like in person. I've never met the guy. I actually never watched any of his stuff.
Well, he's been recently arrested. I mean, and I want to say that I don't believe that those are real charges. Like, it's hard for me to believe that like somebody with that kind of money has to lock up women. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, he started this webcam business. You can have your feelings about it, but basically, and he explained it on this one podcast I was listening to. He's a genius. I mean, like, porn industry has been around for a long time. Andrew Tate didn't discover it. So if somebody starts a business, basically he said that he just had these women like being like webcam models, and he had guys controlling the keyboard saying that what men want to hear because the women didn't know what to say. So he basically paid people to say what and he would give the women a lot of money. Like, they would get paid very well doing these jobs for him because he was making a lot of money off of them. These men were sending them large amounts of money. So
anytime you have someone going against the grain or against the narrative, you're gonna get the backlash of the people. You're gonna get situations where they're coming for you, so to speak, because you're not promoting what the narrative wants you to promote.
Yeah, they loved Elon Musk and drove Teslas until he bought Twitter, and then they had women coming out saying that Elon Musk was touching him, touching them or whatever. So,
but Colleen, to Andrew Tate again, I don't know if the charges are accurate or what, but actually, I wanted to say to your point, when you do have a lot of money, it is not far-fetched to human traffic people because you need to have money in those circles to move those commodities around.
I mean, Jeffrey Epstein.
It's true. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that.
Well,
I mean,
and the type of women that he gets involved into this business, I mean, they're broken humans. So I don't know what's going on with them and their lives and where they came from.
They're adults, though.
Okay, but I'm just so tired of this. Okay, they're adults, but it's amazing how like conservative, especially Christian men, support this guy who is men who have daughters. And so what if your daughter is 19 years old and somebody lures her into
you better stay off Andrew Tate's boat.
I mean, how disgusting, how despicable this society has completely fallen, that we have women who will say like we're going to prostitute ourselves
for the right price. Do you know what the oldest business is in the world?
Okay, so murder is also the oldest activity in the world.
No, it's not. We're talking about the business.
I know what you're talking about, but murder happened before prostitution.
I said business.
Okay, but what's your point? Like,
I'm
so
trying
what?
to tell you something. You want to keep talking about murder, which that's apples and oranges.
But when something is old or old profession, whatever, it doesn't
No, my
make
point
it right.
is it's not new. You act like this is something new for people, for the transaction of money.
No, it's not new. That's why it's so disappointing.
So the
that
world
people
has always been
with the same kind of bullshit.
So Yana, what's wrong with the argument of that they're adults? I mean, because at what point do we say they have to make their own decisions?
Well, if I'm just saying, if you're a decent human being, would you encourage somebody into prostitution? Would you say, or would you tell your friend, you know what? Oh, if you want to do it, go ahead. That's great. You're gonna make a lot of money. Does that make you?
No, you might not tell your friend that, but as an adult, if as an adult, you can't stop them either.
But what I'm saying is that Andrew Tate, he's perpetuating this type of lifestyle. So are you a decent human being if you're perpetuating that kind of lifestyle? You're creating the environment for that kind of degradation.
It's capitalism.
Okay, but it's still degradation. You cannot have a decent society and capitalism at the same time.
Is that what you're saying? At what time has society ever been decent?
Oh, so we just have to agree that society, we cannot even strive for a better society. That is why we have the problems that we have in we have the problems in America, in the certain
people have choices. God, exactly. It's in the Bible. You have from God has given you a choice.
Exactly, but not every choice is the right choice.
And obviously not.
What is your version of decent society? What is your version of a decent society? Because we're always striving, at least what we think is a decent
No,
society.
you're not striving.
What is your version?
If you're saying that it's okay for women to sell their bodies and let a guy encourage that, that is not striving for a decent
No,
society.
I said where there is a choice, free choice, no force,
I'm not
no
saying
crime
you gotta,
involved.
no. I'm not
I
putting
said
a
where there are
ban.
two adults making
Shelly,
a decision.
I'm not putting a
making
ban
a decision.
on the, I'm not, I don't, I'm trying, let me just be clear. I'm not going to make a society where like this type of behavior is banned, but to elevate this person as some sort of moral or some sort of leader for human beings, that is what degradation.
I didn't elevate him. I don't think any of us elevated him at all. Okay. Now he is a
who's
mentor.
doing the elevating?
I use the word mentor to a lot of people. He is.
Men,
but
men are doing the
That's
elevating.
my whole point.
Men are doing the elevating.
Exactly.
Well, not even elevating. They're it's mostly like men, especially men that come from broken homes that don't have fathers or don't have these role models. This is information that they're getting from someone that they can see as a role model. And I don't think nothing's wrong with that, because in some form or another, he's helping these men to be better men.
Yeah, and I said that there's a pro and con. There's a pro and con to everything, including the likes of Andrew Tate, Kevin Samuels, and all these other Manosphere. There's a pro side and a con side. I said that, but I'm still going to always stick to, if there are two adults, no crime, no force, no rape or whatever involved in the transaction. Why do we need the government to regulate it?
I'm not regulating. Yeah. I never said anything about regulating. You're really like changing my words. I was talking about human beings and human relationships and who we consider someone that we should look up to. When did I say we need to regulate anything?
You said in a decent society, create
decent society.
In a society, you have to have order. So if you have the creation of a society, here we go again, and my mic is going to get cut. So here we go. So if in a society, if we're creating this society, this decent society, I'm just asking, what is your version? Are you going to need something to regulate these transactions between adults that you don't agree on?
No.
So let me ask you this.
You just raise better sons, better daughters.
Yana, I have a question for you real quick.
Okay.
Do you believe Andrew Tate's life advice is contributing to a better society?
Which life advice? Which one exactly? He gives a lot of different
in general
bits and pieces of advice.
This in general.
No, it doesn't do anything for the society. He's a pimp. I mean, whatever. He's telling men to be masculine. He's not the first one to do that.
So let me ask, what is your definition of a masculine man?
Definition of a masculine man. A strong man who is a supporter. Who is wise, who is calm, who is not who can give good advice, who cares about his family, who cares about the society as a whole, who sees a holistic picture, who is responsible for his words. He sees the cause and effect of his actions.
So Colleen, how many of those boxes does Andrew Tate check?
A lot of them. Yeah. I mean, he's his demeanor is definitely what a lot of men should emulate. Not so much the way that he treats women, but the way that he holds himself, the fact that he takes care of himself, that he's well spoken, that he's intelligent. I mean, that's just, I think it's that image is that what is useful in society. It's maybe not so much his relationship advice, but even the only controversial part of his relationship is, whatever he does, is the fact that he has multiple women. But it's like, he's very open about it. They all understand it. He's nice to them. I mean, in certain contexts, he does do a lot of locker room talk. I don't know what man that looks like he does makes the money he does that doesn't. But it's like, I mean, that's just how men are. Like, I mean, men are going to be men. Like Donald Trump talked like this and it was caught on camera or caught on tape. So, it's to a certain extent, you need a little bit of toxic masculinity in this world, I guess.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap up here, guys. I got one last question, and it really is just the topic of the night. It's clear Nick Cannon has multiple women. Andrew Tate has multiple women. I just want to go around the horn. I'm just going in the order I see on my screen here. Are Andrew Tate and Nick Cannon the role models men need? So T.
Andrew Tate, maybe. Nick Cannon, no.
Colleen.
Same. Yeah. Andrew Tate, yes. Relationship advice with a grain of salt. Nick Cannon, no.
Shelly.
I would say largely no. Their lives are not based in the reality of most men.
Okay, Yana.
I mean, I have nothing else to say about these two idiots.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe. Also, follow our new YouTube channel directly for or specifically for Pop and Politics. You go to youtube.com/@pop-and-politics. I know it's easier to type than it is to say. But yeah, make sure you like the page there, follow it, share the video. And again, this is Pop and Politics presented by Metro Conservative Media. Thanks, Pops fans, for tuning in. Y'all have a great week and Happy New Year.